It's no secret that agriculture has been lagging behind the industry and services sector when it comes to its contribution to the Ghanaian economy. In the past 5 years, the sector has contributed on average about 21%. So, what are the teething issues affecting the sector and what steps are being taken to rectify them? Now, some point to poor irrigation infrastructure, a lack of modernization, as well as post-harvest losses. Now, as part of its effort to essentially improve the fortunes of this all-important sector, which employs majority of Ghanaians, the current government is implementing an integrated strategy, which includes planting for food and jobs, one village, one dam, as well as, one district, one warehouse strategy. Now, we've heard about the success stories for planting for food and jobs, as well as the one village, one dam. But how impactful has the one district, one warehouse strategy been? We want to speak to the people, all the stakeholders around this particular policy to find out, is it really improving the fortunes of our agriculture sector? Or is it all to do about nothing?
This structure you are seeing is called Pachara in Gunja. It is a storage facility for our food items. Usually when we take food items during the dry season, we store foods in it. But when it gets foods like corn, millet, cassava, and any products that we take. Yeah. So this facility you are seeing, or structure you are seeing, after dry season, we take all foods out of it, then leave it this way. When it gets to dry season again, we restructure it and make it very strongly to enable to store our foods. Some use this, and others will just take their rooms, remove some rooms, part of their houses, and store their food. Some of the challenges is that we do observe some insects affecting the food items. Yeah, some insects you fetch the corn and you find out that there are some insects in it. But what we find it difficult is that you can't spray the XanaMax, because if you spray the XanaMax, it will affect the food items. So usually that is the challenges we have. And because of it's made of wood, it gets broke. Some of the wood get broke, so it can't stand for long. Usually it's just temporary. For me, I would say we don't get much yield, or because of financial difficulties. That is why we usually sell produce earlier like that. Because the time you usually sell, after harvesting it, if you are selling, by that time the prices of the goods are not all that up. So, but if you have that, if you have nothing in your hand, definitely the little you get, you are forced to release it.
And they are not the how many say, Sebi, and they may buy a school or be secondary school to us all connecting training. No, me, yes, I do me. Yeah, my brave. In a baby, Pebia Cram Femu. Na netonso, it do sabrena. If you are me pesca, the triacola squifisia, and him, I make Quenya Bosia. One net dinner so come, mammy, a mammy, dear. Baby, I know your dear name, not your bread. Zante, a digua. Apataya bopatene di gumwa edutama epeton na bibiri ho apro amwa wurewura mi adoye den kura bibiri unyane nyina bibiri be pro enti ba se abanye we hasaman me ni aje ho papa isanse ebe boaye.
The Ministry of Food and Agriculture in 2012 reported that Ghana recorded post-harvest losses when it comes to yam to the tune of 17.4%. Now, in some areas, the figure is even higher. Now, this obviously affects the welfare of farmers who, because of financial difficulty as well as poor storage facilities, are forced to sell off their crops from yam, rice, maize to granules for cheap because they really do not have areas where they can store their produce for long. The case is no different when you come to Tolong. So, the provision of such a facility behind me will go a long way to help the farmers and improve their living standards.
The prefabricated warehouses was to mitigate the issues or problems of post-harvest losses. We know farmers, after farming, there is abundance of food produce, and some of them just go to the market and sell them at cheaper costs for the fear that it will go bad. But if you have the storage, you can go and store them at the facility. So we think in collaboration with a US aid, when we do the warehouses, it also help mitigate the issue of food security in the world, not even in the country. Because if Ghana has a lot of foodstuffs, where to even store their food, it can go to our neighboring countries and even other countries. So that's the reason why some of the warehouses are completed. We have over 40 that are completed, fully completed.
Storage is a big problem, or used to be a big problem among farmers across the country. I mean, some of them had harvested their crops and they were unable to store them in the old ways of storing their farm produce in the farmhouses and other places. Some of the farmers who brought their farm produce to their houses, to their own houses, were unable to have enough space to store the farm produce. Indeed, across northern Ghana, for instance, even across the whole country, you could see farmers sharing sometimes their rooms with their farm produce. But now we have very well constructed warehouses which are for the farmers, actually. Every district has a warehouse, sometimes more than one. So farmers are able to, one, store their farm produce in these warehouses, which if they hadn't done so, their farm produce could get spoiled if they didn't store them well. Also, they could be stolen because sometimes you harvest your food stuff, your food crops, and because you can't store them very well, thieves can come and steal your food crops. But the warehouses do not only provide protective, environment for the food crops, but also the conditions under which they are stored are well maintained, that your food crops do not get spoiled when they are stored in the warehouses.
The Kumbungu prefabricated warehouse, like the other 50 warehouses, which are 1,000 metric tons warehouses which have been positioned across the country, also comes with ancillary facilities including offices and laboratories, resting rooms with attached sanitary facilities, chain link fencing with gatehouses, and solar-powered grain dryers, among others. Now, speaking of grain dryers, as much as 50 to 60% of cereal grains can be lost during the storage stage due only to the lack of technical efficiency, whereas use of scientific storage methods can reduce these losses to as low as 1 to 2%. A majority of households in the Kumbungu area are engaged in agriculture, specifically crop farming. Such a facility should come in handy.
It's also strategic because you can see Bupe is the biggest market, not only in the district, but I can say the whole of the region and beyond. And a lot of the farmers bring their produce over here. You see the Mondays when they finish, you still see a whole lot of food stuff that are lying down. So with this one over here, they can store a lot of this produce over here. They can get good markets. And for that matter, it will better the living conditions of our farmers. For us, this is very, very important because in all aspects of development, we have various areas that the government is putting money in. But this is also important. The people majority are farmers. So when they produce and, they don't know where to, let's say, store them, they don't get a market. But with this one over here, a lot of the stuff will be bought and stored over here. This is the only storage facility we have in the district. And for that matter, it's very, very good for us. So anybody who thinks that the money could have been put in a different listen, I don't side with that.
Farmers are in high expectation of the completion of this because we have a whole lot of post-harvest losses in grains in the district. When we harvest the maize, because of the post-harvest losses, farmers are forced to sell, and it creates glut in a very short period. And farmers sell also cheaply, and they don't make up the amount that they put into the farming. So the farmers are really anticipating that this warehouse will be completed on time so that they can start enjoying the use of the facility. Commodity exchange, they've come in and we've discussed that one, the farmer can choose to come and store the grains here, and when the price go up, he will come and pick his grains and go and sell. The other alternative too is that the farmer can bring the grains can take some small amount in advance to spend, take care of the household. When the grains price rise, you come and pick his grains, or the warehouse can sell the grains and give it also to him. We've also made them to understand also that this is also a good facility for them to have a collateral. When you come and store your grains here, you get a receipt which you can send to the bank to show that I've got so much grains here. Please give me this amount to put in my investment.
There's a time for everything in the agriculture value chain, from land, tilling, planting, harvesting, storage, and even marketing. Now, when it comes to storage, local storage methods in the northern part of the country, as well as our middle belt, where a majority of our agricultural produce are generated, will not suffice because of possible losses due to pest damage. Now, due to such challenges, farmers are usually forced to sell early, leading to income losses. So therein comes these new warehouses under IPEB. We're currently at the Lamshegu warehouse complex, where we already have some old warehouses, but new ones have been added. Now, how critical will these be? For some stakeholders, it will prevent such things as post-harvest losses. The Special Development Initiatives Ministry has been collaborating with the Ghana Buffer Stock Company, an agency under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in the building of the warehouses. Since 2018, the ministry has completed 40 out of the 50 warehouses. In the northern regions of the country, the following communities will benefit from the warehouses. Northern Region: Tamale South, Yendi, Kumbungu, Tolong, Bungpurugu. Savannah Region: Yape Kusogu. Upper East Region: Busa North, Paga, Pusiga, Boku Central, Tempane. Upper West Region: Lambusie, Wa East, Sisala East.
As I mentioned, we're in the rainy season. We are farming. A lot of fruit crops are being planted, and by the close of the farming season, when farmers start to harvest their food crops and they need to store them in the warehouses, the Mother Ministry will take initiatives with the authorities to ensure that these warehouses are commissioned to allow farmers to store their farm produce. Indeed, it is not for nothing that they are still kept closed. I mean, they have been maintained, and they are going to kind of not sanitize them, but they are going to ensure that they spray with chemicals that can prevent, the food crops when they are stored, that can prevent either destruction of the food crops by weevils or other insects. So all these things are part of preparation to ensure that you don't just build a warehouse and open it for farmers, but you build the warehouse, you put in the right measures to ensure that when farmers come to store their various farm produce, they are safe until when they want to kind of sell them off.
Currently, we have a number of 73,000 people who are farmers, of which 57% are women. So Sechekumawu is a woman-dominated in terms of agriculture. And this warehouse coming to Sechekumawu really is going to help a lot. Because one, post-harvest loss is something that farmers face a lot. The problem is harvesting, storage after harvesting, which is a problem. So government bringing this to Sechekumawu will really help a lot. We have about 10,000, almost 10,000, approximately 10,000 farmers which are into grains, which are specifically maize. So if you have that amount, and assuming even averagely, a farmer is producing averagely 20 bags of maize, it's a huge number of maize to talk about. So it's going to help a lot. It's going to help a lot.
Since 2017, the ministry has been providing oversight on the delivery of government's priority initiatives and constituency priority infrastructure projects with funding from the allocated cedi equivalent of $1 million annually to each of the 275 constituencies. The prefabricated grain warehouses is one of such projects which is helping to ensure a continuous flow of agriculture produce, create opportunities along the agriculture value chain, and also support the implementation of government's Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. The following communities across the country will also be beneficiaries of the One District, One Warehouse project. Ashanti Region, Ejra Seche Dumasi, Kumewu, Ofinsu North, Ahafano North, Mampong, Seche Afram Plains. Bono Region, Sunyani East. Bono East Region, Nkranza South, Atebuboa Mountain, Techiman South. Eastern Region, Upper Menyakrobo, Fantiakwa North, Impraiso, Yilo Krobo, Ayensuano, Afram Plains North, Afram Plains South. Oti Region, Karachi East. Greater Accra Region, Shai Usuduku. Central Region, Cape Coast North, Ewutu Senya East, Upper Dintra East, Upper Dintra West, Trifua Timokwa, Asin North. Western North Region, Dwaboso, Seshuyuoso, Bia East, Swaman, Bibieni and Shuayoso Bekwai.
Those days when we said we're going to give out $1 million equivalent per constituency, people doubted us. But all these projects are coming from the 1 million per constituency. We also have constituency projects. Out of the constituency projects, we're building school infrastructure, we're building police stations, we're building clinics, markets. And our clinics, they are small clinics that comes with a physician's apartment and then 2 nurses' apartment, fully equipped. We have the beds, we have the clinics, everything there. So that when you just go, yours is just to go in and then start work. We also provide them with motorbikes and then bicycles so that they can send their errand boys with the bicycles and the motors to do 1 or 2 things for them. A lot of projects, and all these projects are being funded by the 1 million per constituency. You also see the ambulances going around. It was also funded by the 1 million per constituency. That's why we say 1 ambulance, 1 constituency, funded by the 1 million per constituency fund.
As government implements its integrated strategy to improve the fortunes of agriculture in Ghana, using programs such as the Planting for Food and Jobs, the One Village, One Dam, as well as the warehouse receipt system, it has become evidently important that warehouses or new warehouses under the One District, One Warehouse policy be provided across the country to ensure that excess produce are mopped up. Now, this will not only help reduce the incidence of post-harvest losses, but will also improve the fortunes of the ordinary Ghanaian farmer.